What is a session zero? How to run one? Do we have to be in the same room for this? And do we even need it? There are so many questions around a session zero, and I've said it in most of my videos. Please, 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 please do not skip session zero. So a new YouTuber that I watch, who we started posting videos around the same time, Mystic Arts DM, recently put out a video that they don't think a session zero is really necessary. I think you need a session zero. I think in some capacity, no matter the table, it's crucial. However, I agree with him in the fact that I think that you have to do all these things. To him, his session zero just seems to be we don't have to sit down at a table to do this. And I'd beg to argue that that's still a session zero, even if it is remote and separated into pieces. To me, a session zero is less the actual physical sitting down of everybody at a table and more the terminology used of pre-prepping before you sit down together. It is taking time in any manner, be it on Discord or at the table, or even just through email and text, to make sure that everybody who is sitting there will be on the same page, be it the DM or all of the players. To me, a session zero is a handshake. Tells you a lot about a person, whether it is a firm grip, loose grip, or they just kind of wave it off. I think getting to know everybody before you sit down is really, really important to the liveliness of a campaign. If it's a one-shot, it's a lot easier. I'd say this whole thing could be done in an email. But if it is a more long-term, if you're planning on this taking years, I think it's kind of important to sit together at least once. But even if you're not willing to sit together just once, it's still both why you need it and so important that you guys know what you're getting into. I will say time and time again that every different table has different layers of compatibility. You can look at any of my videos' comments and see drastic differences. Sure, some people are like, this is awesome. And some people will tell me I'm being an idiot because player characters should not matter. In that case, why aren't you playing like Sim City Builder? Like you can't, why are you... Some people are there to usher their players through their world, and the focus is on their world and their story. And some people want their player characters to be like 11 and Stranger Things. We don't follow the story of Barb because she dies. But we all have different tastes and different things we like and don't like. I had a friend who was at a table whose party lost, and instead of doing a TPK, they knocked them out. And the two girls who were at the table were supposed to roll for pregnancy, insinuating horrible things. And to some, that's the reality of the game. That's the immersion they play for. It's that fear that keeps them coming back. No, not at my table. No. I'm good. Nope, no rolls for pregnancy here. For some people, it's a fade to black if you so much as want to hold hands with another of the characters. Whereas some tables genuinely ERP. You're just in a group of people ERPing in between fights. Some tables think that all of the roleplay should be done in text message discussions outside of the table, and the table is just to get together for the mechanicals of combat. Whereas other tables might have one combat every couple of months. Because of how drastically different this can be from person to person and group to group, it is really important that you know what you're getting into. And session zero is there to rule out as many potential problems as we can. Now, the way that I like to run these for one-shots is a simple Google Doc that goes over what are your comfortability checklist, what are your character goals, basically everything I would normally do at the table, but put into a little sheet that I send out, I get back, and then I kind of condense them for each player as the things that other people could know, and then they can kind of see what they're coming to sit at the table for. Because a session zero could be just as simple as that. However, for a longer running thing, session zero is a lot beefier for me. So to start, there's two ways to do this. One way is to have your session zero basically over dinner, whether you're going out to a restaurant, having a home-cooked meal, so it's less of having to sit down and be super intense, but more of a casual hangout where everybody gets to know each other. Maybe do a potluck and have character-themed dishes where each player brings something to the table that represents their character. Be it that they're a tiefling, so they bring a spicy dinner, or you're a sweet dwarf from the mountains who likes heartier food, bringing a nice pierogi or gnocchi dish and just sharing a meal with the people you're about to go on an adventure with. The other way, which is usually my go-to, is to make it less of a singular event and make it a 2 to 3 session one-shot before the campaign. This is where I have all of my characters meet each other, and we have all the information for session 0 before that. It's a more condensed, easy, focused beginning that goes into this one-shot where we get to see everyone's play styles before we strap in for the long run. To me, I'd rather have a fun one-shot, low commitment, in case if we don't work out, we figure it out pretty quick, than have everyone strap in and start trying to make things work that might not because, hey, we're committed now. But regardless of how you host it, let me share with you what a typical session 0 entails for me. I always start with an icebreaker. Even if these are people you know, you might not know them in this manner. This icebreaker consists of 3 questions I go around asking everyone at the table. It's corny, I know, but trust me, it's worth it. First is, what's your favorite part of RPGs? Whether you've played TTRPG before, or you just played Horizon Zero Dawn or Cult of the Lamb and really like to collect outfits. Whatever it is, share your favorite game and what you loved about it, however that answer looks for them. One of my favorite answers I ever got was finding out that one of our players does Civil War reenactments. Technically, I mean, LARPing could be RPG, it's just pre-planned story. It was really cool to find that out. They're like, I like being in the moment. I like being into things. And that was awesome answer. 2 is what a player is most excited for and looking forward to at this particular table. If they prefer combat, if they prefer story, if they prefer exploration, find out what the players take the most interest in because it also helps you with balancing along the way what each of their needs are. And 3 are the strengths that a player thinks their character has to bring to the group. This could be that their character is very charismatic and very excited to get them free stay at inns. Or maybe they're a renowned healer, and even if they don't get along with everybody, they're gonna make sure they keep them alive. Maybe one of the players has a good connection with the gods that they are trying to fight. Maybe one of the players is really good at persuading plants to give them all the answers to the universe. Regardless of what they think they have to bring to the table, a couple of strengths, even one strength, helps everybody know what to expect from one another. And number 4, I usually ask what everyone's favorite drink or food is. Something stupid, something silly, because it can be really stressful to meet new people or to try something new, and that might sway when it's number 4, what's your favorite drink? I'll start, mine's milk. Everyone kind of giggles and it lightens the mood a little bit. I then go into the overall story vibe, what they are to expect from me as a DM. Be it, is this a lighter-hearted campaign that is more roleplay driven, or a more intense campaign that you are going to have to fear for your life in? That's at the table too. I throw things sometimes. Nope, that's a joke. That's supposed to be funny. At this point, I would have already sent out a comfortability and boundary checklist so I can go over the things that we will not be doing in the game. Anonymously, too, because some people are uncomfortable with things and they don't want to talk about why. And that's okay. We don't need to know every detail of everyone's backstory to understand that not everybody is comfortable with some things. On that checklist, it also has character goals. Those are private. Those don't need to be discussed at the table, but it is something that you as a DM should definitely keep in mind, things that would encourage that growth and challenge that player. And when I say challenge that player, yes, you should challenge the character, but sometimes it's just as satisfying to challenge both. I then like to talk about the house rules and the things we do differently at the table and ask for any suggestions from players. We do brutal criticals where you get to take the full damage and then roll for the other part of it instead of rolling twice. And we also do, if you use a potion as a full action, you get the full healing, a bonus action, you roll for it, which both of those were suggested to players during this situation. Be surprised how much you can learn from the people at your table. Even new players may have done more research than even you if they were nervous about coming to play. So make sure to ask their opinions, and then I follow up with letting my players know that I have an open door policy. If there are any sort of conflicts going on between people, I want to know where people are at session to session. I love feedback, but I also know it's impossible to get feedback most of the time, but I want my players to know that I am a safe space. If player A and player B are having issues that have to do with the table and they come to me, I'm not going to tell player B that player A is upset. but I may go to player B and say, hey, I've noticed some of these behaviors at the table. Is everything okay? I care about everybody who sits at my tables, and I want to make sure that they know that I would rather help them fix an issue than for them to just sit on it, brew on it, snap at the table, or to just start to hate D&D altogether. And then I follow it up by giving everybody a single DM inspiration sticker as a thank you for coming to my table. It doesn't carry over into the main campaign, so they just get it for the one shot, but it's a little memorable gift that costs me all of less than a penny thanks to Amazon's bulk buying stickers. And it lets them know that I'm on their side. There are plenty of tables that it is DM versus player, or the players have to feel like the DM is this keeper of the game in a way where they don't have agency. And I want every one of my players to know that that's not the type of table that I run. It's not to say that those types of tables are bad, just that's not what they're gonna find with me. And then we go over tying any loose ends. So if some of the players forgot to pick items, things like that, or don't know what they should be taking, we talk about that, and we roll stats. I always roll stats at the table. I do not allow people to roll stats without, because it causes too much issues. For experienced players, most of the time you can trust people to not scuff their rolls, but we all know that guy. We all know that guy. And if we have somebody who rolls exceptionally well, I don't want other players to think it's that guy that we all know. Making sure we roll stats where we can all see each other takes all of that tension out. And it takes 10 minutes or less to roll your stats, roll your health, call it a day. Some tables use pre-made stats, and I do allow my players to choose if they want to roll or if they want to use the standard array, but time and time again, everybody always wants to roll. I just want to make sure that we're all together for it. One of our long run campaigns, we have a player who we were all there. It was his first time ever rolling stats, and he has 3 18s, a 17, a 16, and a 15. We watched this happen. I would have never, if he came to me with that, without us all seeing that happen, I would be like, no, go back, fix it. Nope, you're re-rolling. It was insane. Usually I allow my players to like drop the lowest and re-roll. I didn't tell him that. I'm an asshole for that, but I don't care. I didn't tell him that. Then we do a bathroom break before we get into the one-shot. The one-shot can be a short, easy combat session or something that goes into 2 to 3 sessions. I like to do 2 to 3 because you can work out a lot of the kinks and incompatibilities that are able to be fixed, or see the ones that can't be fixed by the time you've got to that 3rd session. That 3rd session also includes half of the first one being session 0. Or do it as an all-day affair. You get together, have Cracker Barrel at 8 a.m., get right into session 0, and then go until your one-shot is done. No matter how you do it though, I think it's really crucial for everyone to get to know each other. D&D, more than anything, is bonding. Whether you come to the table for this big challenge, or again, you just want to be the prettiest girl at the ball, you are still getting together with a group of people that you will inevitably care for if you don't already, to do some really cool stuff. And even the happiest and best of any relationship will eventually hit bumps in the road. Make sure you know what you're getting into so you know how to address those bumps. Oh, and the one shot. I mentioned that's where the characters know each other. Usually I put it a year to a couple of years beforehand, something where they would have run into each other before, had to work together, and they've basically forgotten each other. So at the beginning of the campaign, it's like, oh, aren't you that guy who was, without being too in your face. I think that summarizes everything I think you need to know about a session 0. If you have any questions though, let me know, and please, icebreaker me in the comments below. I'm gonna pin a comment that has the questions again so you can see it. I want answers. Either way, I hope you guys take care. Thank you so much for all the support, and bye guys! You're just in a group of people ERPing in between fights.